Hey guys, Harrison I'm back at it once again for a brand new video for you. And before I start, I'm gonna put a video in the description to a video from a friend of mine, Arava, he made a great response to my Dre Talks video I put up yesterday. I highly recommend you check it out. He says in that video more than I probably ever could about the video I made yesterday and the backlash as a result of that from many people. I might do a Dre Talks responding to all this later in the week. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, is it worth it at this point? I'm deliberating over it. If you guys really want to see that, let me know. But I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a great video. Highly recommend you go over there and check him out and support Arav. He's a great director that deserves more credit for what he does. Anywho, I had a video. This is the Online Racer, by the way, episode 12, and I had a commentary about this video all set up and ready to go. I was about to push render on the whole thing, and then kaboom! Paul Hembury, the representative of Pirelli tyres in Formula 1, comes out with a few tweets where he says the following: from Canada, changes to be made to bring back 2 to 3 stops. Some structural changes combining elements 2012 and 2013 products. Changes made in interests of the sport. Now, okay, so pretty much they're reverting back to some of the elements they used in last year's tyres. And I know a lot of people have jumped on him recently, basically to say he's given in to what the teams were saying. But the teams have got a point to complain. And it all goes back to the old, entertainment technology debate we've had in Formula 1 for years and years and years. And there's a political element to this as well, which I'll get to in a minute. But Catalonia was an example of why Pirelli went too far down the other end. Martin Brundle said it himself. To a degree, he's still in support of Pirelli and what they're trying to do in Formula 1 in terms of tyres. Even if, to an extent, they fabricated the sport. Because it's true, the sport is not the element about who is the best guy and who is the best car. It's turning slowly into who can manage their tyres the best. And it was a freak situation in Catalonia where Alonso won on a 4-stopper. Raikkonen was second on a 3, but a lot of the guys were having to run 4s because the tyres were too bad. Like, Webber had to pit on lap 7 to get him out of traffic, and because his tyres are already fading. Vettel tried to run a 3-stopper, but then they realised halfway through his second stint that was going to be impossible, and they switched him to a 4-stopper. And he ended up coming 4th when he could have come 3rd as a result of that. But the thing is like, there's been multiple examples over the course of this season to suggest that Pirelli have gone too far up the Swanee and have kind of tainted what's gone on. Just to run them down, Massa's multiple punches in Bahrain was bad. Verne's puncher was horrific. The delimation or the degradation on the Resta's tyre when that exploded in Spain was horrible. The soft tyres in China lasting 6 laps, and he's never going to bring prototype hards for the practice session in Spain just to get more cars to run. The fact that the hardest 2 compound tyres they bring down to Spain, and a set will only last 12 to 16 laps, as well as left front tyres being absolutely destroyed, and many engineers on radios over the race saying, look after the tyres, Seb, or look after the tyres, or don't race this guy, race your race, don't overcook the tyres, you are racing this guy, go harder on the tyres if you have to. It's all about the friggin' tyres, and that's not what it should be about in this damn sport, okay? Period. And I don't care what anyone says. 4 stops in a race is too much. It becomes harder for the casual fans to follow, which ironically they're the ones that are mostly complaining about this, as well as some of the more biased members of the media, which again I'll get to in a minute. But it's harder for the casual or newer fans to follow this because of all the pit stops. Like, okay, what's going on? How's this all going to shake out? And just in general, it's a safety issue as well. I mean, how many punches have we seen this season? What if somebody's tyre blows out at 170 miles an hour and they go into the wall like Webber did at Valencia, for example? That could easily happen one day. And I dread to think what could happen there. Like, if a tyre pops out at high speed and a guy loses control, what the hell are Pirelli going to say then? We didn't mean for this to happen. Forgive us. Sorry. You know, guy could lose his life, and then you know, the next thing you know, it was the tyres that were responsible for it. What's Hembree going to say then? Exactly. I mean, Pirelli can't go a race without causing some kind of controversy or some kind of bad PR for the company. So now they feel like they've had to change and revert back to building tyres around, or building tyre choices and tyre designs to 2 or 3 stop races. And I think that's the right call from Hembree. I think that's the right call because it makes the sport safer if they're going back to tyres that were built to be safer last year, rather than tyres that were built this year to be lighter and degrade even faster than last year. People don't even realise this. Pirelli's tyres were made to be 1 kilogram lighter last year. So they had to up the minimum weight on the cars by 1 kilo or 2. Doing that increased the tyre wear even further. People didn't even realise this. But, like, to a degree, I feel sorry for Hembree and Pirelli because they have... It's like they're in the middle of a tug of war between the casual fans, the hardcore fans, and the teams. Like, the hardcore fans includes... I use that group loosely because it's also to do with some of the media members as well. Like, some members of the media, journalists and press are saying things which worry me as well. Pirelli were brought into this sport and Pirelli were told to make things more interesting from a political standpoint because they didn't want to see Vettel dominate the world title for 2 or 3 more years. Now, whether you like, dislike, or whatever your opinion is on Sebastian Vettel, okay? Fact is, he's won the last 3 world titles. The last guy to do that was Schumacher, and Schumacher dominated the first half of the last decade of Formula 1. 2000 to 2005, he won 5 straight world titles, and in those 5 seasons, won 45 races. Which is quite a lot, I think you'll agree. The FIA, and I think a lot of the hardcore members of the media, hardcore members of the press, who want to be entertained, were saying to Pirelli, find a way to stop Red Bull being so dominant. Because they didn't want to see Vettel win 4 or 5 world titles in a row. They, you know, and I can understand that. But then these same media members are now slamming, you know, Pirelli's tyres for being, you know, for degrading too fast. Bottom line is, those tyre degradations were causing Red Bull to struggle in some races. Not so much in Bahrain and Malaysia, obviously, where they brought home 1-2 finishes, and in Bahrain, where Vettel won clearly and could have won much more convincingly if he wanted to. He was coasting the second half of that race. But it's caused Red Bull to not be so invincible, and as a result, yeah, the sport was becoming more balanced, it was becoming more unpredictable. But then they started complaining about the tyres. Now they've gone back, and I know a lot of ignorant media members are now saying, oh, congratulations guys, now you've changed the tyres back to make them harder. Red Bull's going to dominate the rest of the season, and Vettel will win his 4th world title. Now, it's one of those difficult things to weigh up because the 2 biggest complainers about these 2013 tyres have been Red Bull and have been Mercedes. And you can see why. They're the 2 teams that by a country mile have had the most issues when it comes to having tyre wear. Mercedes have the best ultimate pace in Formula 1 as a car. Around 1 lap of a track, the Mercedes are the fastest. We know this because we've had 2 Mercedes poles so far this season, and it looks to me like they're constantly sticking one of their cars at least in the top 2 rows every race. But it's gotten to the point where now, because of Mercedes' bad tyre wear and Red Bull's tyre wear issues, pole position doesn't matter as much in this sport. Only 1 of the last 8 races in Formula 1 have been won from pole, going back to last season. So you can see that it's having a bigger impact on the sport, and of course Red Bull and Mercedes are going to play their position and say, you know, we don't like these tyres, and go because they want to win, duh. Like, why are people surprised that these 2 teams are going to complain about the state of tyres in the sport? It's exactly what they're doing. They're playing their position. They're going to try and work their power into making change, and it seems to have worked, because now they're going back to a system where there's going to be 2 to 3 stop tyres, and, you know, combining elements of the sport with them. And you know what, I can completely understand that, but I think the ultimate reason they're doing this is safety. Hello? Like, have you seen the number of blowouts there's been so far this year? It's ridiculous. And Pirelli, again, to a degree, I feel sorry for them, because to an extent, they're in the middle of a tug of war and they don't know who to please. Like, the casual fans, the hardcore fans, the members of the press, the FIA. I know the FIA don't want to see repeat winners. They want to see people mix it up a bit. And Bernie's come out and said that he wants to see a different guy win every year. Blah 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 blah. So this sport doesn't like it when a guy dominates. And now Pirelli's got to cater towards that. They've got to cater towards the teams. There's so many elements. And I can't imagine how Hembre and those guys do it, because it must be so hard sometimes. But overall, that's pretty much all I've got to say on Pirelli and their breaking news about reverting tyres back to 2012 elements. It's a difficult one to judge, but if you've got an opinion on the whole tyre situation, politically speaking, casual, hardcore, whatever your stance, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on this one, because it's a very interesting topic indeed. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now I have 20 online multiplayer wins, which is awesome. Closing in on Vettel. I'm in black Vettel mode at the moment. I'm dominating. If anything else comes up, I might do a second online race episode or a live episode later in this week as well. So, in the meantime, I've been Harrison1. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.